Israel claims that it has destroyed what it calls a secret Iranian nuclear facility near Tehran. The Israeli military says that the target was a covert site linked to nuclear weapons development.
A few hours ago, the IDF attacked and destroyed the secret nuclear headquarters in Minzadeh. Now you can see the headquarters on the screen, located partially underground in the city of Tehran. A group of nuclear scientists operated secretly in this headquarters, who promoted and developed capabilities and knowledge for obtaining nuclear weapons.
The Israeli Defense Forces say they struck an underground compound known as Minzadeh, located on the eastern outskirts of Tehran. According to Israel, the site was being used by a group of nuclear scientists to develop a key component needed for nuclear weapons. Now, the IDF says its intelligence services had been tracking the scientists' movements for some time. Once they identified this new location, they carried out what they described as a precise strike, demolishing the alleged covert compound and removing what they call a critical part of Iran's nuclear weapons capability.
The intelligence department detected and mapped these movements, and now the Air Force is attacking these headquarters throughout Tehran. In this way, we are deepening the damage to the regime and preventing the restoration of its capabilities and its attempt to obtain nuclear weapons.
Israel and the US have regularly claimed that Iran has been on the verge of building a nuclear bomb. Israel and the US had struck several Iranian nuclear sites during the war last year as well. At the time, US President Trump had claimed that Iran's nuclear facilities had been quote-unquote obliterated. Meanwhile, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, has said that there is no evidence that Iran is building a nuclear bomb. However, he has raised serious concerns over Iran's large stockpile of near-weapons-grade enriched uranium and its refusal to grant full access to inspectors. Grossi has warned that unless Iran cooperates fully and resolves outstanding safeguards issues, the agency cannot confirm that its nuclear program is purely peaceful. Israel and the US have also struck nuclear facilities they had hit in the last war, such as the Natanz facility. Iran has raised this issue with the IAEA. All right, to discuss this further, I'm now being joined by Peter Kuznick, Professor of History, Director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at American University. Professor Kuznick, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for making time. Israel, now they've destroyed this covert nuclear facility. It was underground. They tracked it, they found it, and they have destroyed it. That's what they're claiming. But the IAEA says that there's no evidence Iran is building a nuclear weapon. Where does Iran's nuclear program really stand in your appreciation?
The CIA said back in 2003 that Iran had given up its nuclear weapons program. Ayatollah Khamenei had issued a fatwa against Iran having nuclear weapons. Trump has said that not only did they start enriching again, but that they were, Witkoff had said that they would have enough nuclear material for a bomb within a week. And Trump also said that Iran was on the verge of getting intercontinental ballistic missiles that could hit the United States. This all goes against all the intelligence that we know. It would make, from the standpoint of the Iranian leaders, it would almost make sense for them to have a bomb. I would certainly hate that to happen. But what we've seen is that, as North Korea said, the big mistake that Saddam Hussein made was not to have nuclear weapons, because if he had them, then the U.S. would not have been able to invade in 2003. Muammar Gaddafi gave up his weapons of mass destruction and his bomb program, and then they got bombed, invaded, sodomized with a bayonet, and killed in a field. So the crazy logic at this point, when you've got an out-of-control United States threatening to invade Greenland and Colombia and Panama and even Canada, and you've got Israel and Netanyahu, the butcher of Gaza, acting with impunity to invade countries without any international law behind it. In the United States, it goes against the Constitution, and yet they're acting like out of control, rogue, bully,
Professor Kuznik,
hegemons.
yeah, I hear your point. Let me now also come to Iran's missile program. Now, the way they've been firing across West Asia. Now, this is something they said that they're going to do it, and that's exactly what they're doing. It's nothing out of what was expected. They said we'll target all American bases across West Asia. In the latest, they've said that we've not used the most advanced missiles yet. And the economics of it is not really working in favor of US or Israel at this point, because Iran is shooting drones maybe $35,000 a pop. And on the other end, they're having to intercept it with missiles well into the millions or $500,000. There is too much of a gap. Iran has now said they have far more capability to continue this fight. How long do you feel Iran will be able to sustain the way they're firing in all directions?
That's the big question that everybody is debating now. Will Iran run out of drones and missiles before Israel and the United States and their allies in the region run out of interceptors? We don't know, but that's going to determine a lot of what happens in this case. Sometimes the U.S. says the goal is regime change. That would require boots on the ground. The military experts say we probably need 500,000 troops in order to do a land invasion of Iran. You have to remember that Iran's population is 93 million. The population of Iraq was about 26 million. And still it took the United States a decade, because you never know what's going to be the outcome. On paper, yes, the United States and Israel could dominate Iran. But once the fighting actually starts, all bets are off. You can never predict what's going to happen in a situation like that. And we know that Trump does not plan ahead. Trump, is not a strategist. Trump acts on impulse. What scares me is that Trump, with the kidnapping of Maduro, with the threats against all these other countries, with the tariff war against his allies and the world, and now with the bombing of Iran, Trump deliberately goes out to change international norms. So Trump wants to destroy the United Nations, so he creates a board of peace to replace the United Nations. But now, what is the biggest taboo that remains? For 80 years, we've had the taboo against the use of nuclear weapons. I can almost see, as crazy as it sounds, that Trump might actually use a tactical nuclear weapon, not because the U.S. needs it for any reason, but because he wants to show that he's not constrained by international law, by morality, by any other consideration. He told the New York Times when they asked him, what can limit your use of force? And he said, the only thing that constrain me is my own morality, my own mind, not international law, not the U.S. Constitution.
Understood.
When you've got that dangerous a person out there, the world is being very careful right now. You don't see China getting involved. You don't see Russia getting involved. You don't see India getting involved. And that's because they know that this situation is that dangerous at this point. So I want to see this ended as quickly as possible and as fairly as possible. And I want to see the United Nations strengthened, but we also have other forces. We've got the BRICS. We've got the global South.
Professor
trying
Kuznik,
to create a different world.
Thank you so much, Professor Kuznik, for sharing your insights with us.